So yesterday, a report came out from all the big NFL newsbreakers that DK Metcalf wants out of Seattle. And on the surface, the Browns probably don't fit the criteria of the teams he wants to go to. He said he wants to go to a contender. Chances are the Browns not a contender. But if you look at Andrew Berry's track record, he's addicted to trading third-round picks for wide receivers. 3 years in a row, he's made some sort of trade to bring in a receiver. Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, and Amari Cooper. And all three of those guys, or two of those guys really, I don't want to say more, had really good first seasons with the Cleveland Browns when they got there. The Browns most likely to draft a rookie quarterback, may want to get as many weapons for said rookie quarterback. Tyvis, should Andrew Berry at least call Seattle and inquire about the possibility of trading for DK Metcalf? I know they're not a contender, but it could help a young rookie quarterback.
First of all,
and I'm going to bull last
as opposed to an old rookie.
I'm going to bull last on this one. Tyler Shook's 26. He is an old rookie quarterback.
You need to cut that out right there. All right, I don't like the look on your face when you ask me this question. Yes, why not? Listen, we need more guys. Listen, DK Metcalf is one of those players that, you know it's in there. But he's also never played with a really good quarterback. Now, granted, the Browns don't have that right now, so I totally get that. But it's just the fact that we need more weapons. When you play the Cleveland Browns right now, if this roster is going out there on the field as currently constructed, the quarterback, I could care less who's at the quarterback. But if you just look at this offense as a whole right now, there's only one, maybe two guys that you're worried about. Jerry Jeudy has to be taken care of. And David Njoku? Is that the only two guys?
I guess.
All right. So, it's going to be
anybody worried about David Njoku?
That's what he's got to be out there. That's the thing for him. He's got to be healthy. But I'm just saying, but then you're going to tell me you're going to insert a rookie quarterback in there, and that's his offense. Help the young person succeed. Give them some weapons. At least – if worst case scenario, he could throw a slant or he could throw a now ball right to him, DK, and make a play. Give him some weapons out there to work with so he could be successful, so he doesn't be discouraged as a rookie or even if you go get a veteran, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we need more weapons on the offensive side of the ball. The Jerry Jeudy thing was great, but a lot of teams picked up on that as the season went on. And his numbers went from him being, second or third in the league to him dropping down to 8th, 9th, something like that. Get me wrong, the quarterback play is what it was. All I'm saying is you can never have too many weapons.
It ain't happening. It ain't happening. And the reason it's not happening is the Browns, if you add DK Metcalf, they're not any better. No. Wins and losses, I don't think. Maybe a win or two. I don't know. But it's not significant to the point where it's going to make a difference between you making the playoffs or winning the conference or winning the division. No. I'm all about what you're saying, though, man. Let's get some pieces around the young quarterback. You've got to have some good players to throw the football to. I don't know about you guys. I watched Seattle last year a few games because obviously I love Geno Smith.
JSN.
But, dude, Metcalf was frustrated with that team.
Yeah.
Not getting the ball with that team.
Yeah.
You're going to put him on the Browns? I give it a week. I give it a month before he wants out of Cleveland.
Yeah. So
no chance.
Obviously, DK Metcalf is a very talented player.
Awesome player.
He's been a bit of a disappointment statistically.
We thought he was going to be the next Megatron.
Right. He hasn't put up crazy numbers. I think he's only gone over 1,100 yards once in his career.
He has not played with the best quarterbacks.
Okay, but Geno's a lot better than what the Browns got.
That's fair.
At least Geno's
That's a great point. It's a great point.
Browns got zeros. So
he's gone over 1,100 twice for the record.
Oh, he has?
Yeah, he had 1,300 yards in 2020 and 1,114, so just over in 23.
Twice. So he's got 1 year left on his contract, right?
Correct, and he wants a new deal.
So the Browns, who are in not a good cap position, are going to give up a high asset.
What is it, a third round?
Well, they supposedly want a first and third, which are obviously not.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
I don't know what it would take. But you want to give up the 90th pick in the draft for a guy that's got 1 year left. You can't. He puts you over the cap. Then you got to pay him $35 million a year at least.
Spotrac has his projected cap number next year. Average annual salary at 28.
No, he's getting more than that.
It ain't like he coming off the greatest season.
Jefferson and Chase and those guys.
Jamar Chase is going to get 40.
Yeah, so he's not.
He ain't getting 40.
I know that, but he's in that next
He might
tier.
get 30.
T. Higgins is going to get 30.
Well,
DK Metcalf, I think, is
considered
more highly than T. Higgins. Whatever. Okay, so it's 28 or not. Whatever. Somewhere between 26 and 32. Fine. He's going to make a lot of money. The Browns already are paying Jerry Jeudy. Like, you're going to spend $50 million on receiver or $45 million on receivers when you have very little else. Like, you spend that money on receivers when you're ready to win. I think the Browns, we're so obsessed with the Browns spending in free agency and making trades. They need to learn how to freaking I was almost cursed. I'm like, they have to learn how to draft and get young players and develop. You can't win constantly signing 27, 28, 29-year-olds. They have almost no good players under 26. They have to win that.
I think you're missing the key point.
Yeah.
The key thing in this situation. You're thinking long term.
Right.
They thinking my job's on the line.
Thank you, Tyvis.
I don't know why you keep talking like develop. They don't got time for that. If they don't win this season, they're gone. Well, so therefore, if I'm AB, I'm doing everything. Because if I get fired and we ain't got no, I can care less. It ain't my problem.
That's a disaster too. Because if you're making decisions just for one season and not get fired, that's inexcusable. And Jimmy Haslam should not allow that to happen. He should fire them right now if that's how they're going to behave.
I'm just saying.
Plus, as Dustin said, and he's right, DK Metcalf would not want to be here.
No chance.
They're going to suck. He's going to be miserable.
You know how many players they got traded here that didn't want to be here but still went out and had productive seasons?
Who?
Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. They all had productive seasons.
Odell Beckham was not good
for 1,000 yards. Would you not take that now?
This is not 1984. 1,000 yards.
This was like 5 years ago.
1,000 yards is not a great season.
To have two wide receivers go for 1,000 yards?
It's just
to have okay, so Jerry Jeudy does what he does, and to have another guy go for 1,000 yards.
Jarvis Landry's a 1,000-yard receiver.
Odell went for 1,000 yards the same year.
They brought in Odell Beckham to be a superstar. He wasn't a superstar.
That's fine, but I would take 2,000-yard receivers on my team.
Okay, but what else?
How many wins are they going to get?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what the Browns' record was that year. We need production. We don't have any. You two are just so. Y'all are so this is the thing. Y'all two are so into the fact that it's not going to happen next year.
Yeah.
So we need to just worry about the next 2 years and 3 years from now. And y'all forgetting the simple fact that this coaching staff and general manager, it can't think like that.
But why would you give up a potential top 100 pick for a guy who's going to leave in a year? Because if I'm Jimmy Haslam, I'm not allowing that trade to happen.
If he leaves in a year and I get fired, who cares?
Right, but Jimmy Haslam's ultimately the final say. I wouldn't let that trade happen.
I mean, Jimmy Haslam's going to have to sign off on them trading for a DK Metcalf.
Yeah, of course, because you're going to have to pay him, or he's going to walk away in a year, and he's going to be a curmudgeon the whole time because the team's going to suck. Of course, they need more talent, Tyvis. They need to do it in the draft. Forget free agency. The Browns should not be significant players in free agency. A couple of key guys, reasonable rates. You want a couple of veterans to kind of mentor the young guys.
You got to sign some guys to run down on kickoffs and those things, but they're not going to be big-time splash moves.
They got to get younger. They have the Browns must have less young talent than any team in football.
And remember at one point they were the youngest team in football, 6 years ago?
Right. That's true. Now they suck.
Those days are long gone.
I get what you're saying. I understand, for the fans, the idea of DK Metcalf is exciting. You have DK, you have Jerry Jeudy. Maybe you start Joe Flacco or Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins or some other retread who's going to look great for 4 weeks, and then you got to con yourselves into believing that they can make a playoff run until you don't make the playoff or you lose by 30 in the first round.
They're going to con themselves and say we should extend them after two.
God. Are you here for that? Oh, yeah.
Which one is this?
Let's extend Jameis
G. Bush and Jay wanted
After
to
the Ravens
extend.
Was it after the Ravens game?
Jameis. Was it after the
Was
Ravens?
it the Ravens
Yeah.
or Steelers?
Or the Steelers?
I think it was this.
It was after he played like two
The
good
snow
games.
game?
Oh, hold on. If I
Yeah.
remember correctly, and I could be wrong, and G's in the chat. Shout out G. Bush who's in the chat.
Yeah.
I think G wanted to give him $700 million after the Ravens game, and then Jay said let's give him $2.2 billion.
No, seriously.
After the, no, I know.
G in
How
the
much?
chat.
I think Jay
came
came
around.
25. Jay's whole argument against me was you got to get ahead of it. He's going to get big money in the off. He's getting no money.
Jay came around after. G was the first one on, and then Jay joined the bus after the Steelers game.
But then Jay doubled down because he was like, you got to pay him. If you pay him now,
Well, Sean
you
King
can get
was
him for less.
We
He's
love
gonna
Sean,
get
but he was the
nothing.
worst of them. Sean
Yeah.
said 3 for $90.
He's getting what is Jameis Winston getting in free agency this year? $5 million?
Between 5 and 10.
Ish.
Okay.
He got
These guys
7
wanted to
last
pay him an extension. Lunatics around. This is what I'm dealing with. Lunatics over here.
I wanted to see if G was in the chat. I ain't seen
He
him.
was?
G's in the
Oh,
chat.
I didn't see him. I had scrolled.
It's funny, you know, you think about the moves the Browns are going to make.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know the mindset.
That's true.
We
That's
almost are,
Yeah.
like us in these chairs,
Well-
whoever happens to be in these chairs on a particular day,
Yeah.
we're kind of going to react to what they do. Be like, okay, well, if they're doing that, then
Yeah.
they must be thinking they're going to be this.
Right.
Because we don't know what they're thinking
No.
about their team. Their quality control internally.
According to David Njoku, they just need a healthy quarterback.
I didn't mention this earlier, but I actually
Yeah.
have a question. This goes back to the Batonio thing in relation to what Dustin just said. If Batonio retired, would they get that cap money back?
Yes.
So if the Browns were in straight,
Not the dead cap money.
but the cap money that they would have
But
paid
like
him.
for example, Sam Hubbard retired. He was going to count against the cap if they had kept him, I believe like 10, 11 million. And instead he's going to only count the dead cap, which the Bengals don't do much dead cap, but I think for him it's like 2 million. So they got 8 million off the cap with him retiring.
So let me just work this out
Yeah,
as we're
yeah.
talking
The Browns
to each
do
other.
more dead cap though, so I don't know what his dead
I'll look
cap
up Batonio, but let's just work this out real
Yeah.
quick. If, in theory, the Browns are ready for a total rebuild, would Batonio – I mean, obviously it's up to Batonio to decide if he wants – you're not going to say don't come back, but is there a chance they would have been like, hey, Joel, we appreciate your contributions, but we could use that cap space elsewhere as opposed to not talking him into coming back, but pushing him to come back? And if he's coming back, doesn't that kind of signal they may be more, we got to win now because we know we're on the hot seat?
Yeah,
To you,
but
or am I looking too far?
They may want to win now, but the odds that they're going to be able to do that are minuscule. So they could win all. Like, what would be what would they do differently with a total rebuild? Yeah, they could trade Myles Garrett. That would signal a more serious rebuild, and they don't appear to be willing to do that. I still think when it's all said and done, if somebody makes a good enough offer, they'll trade Myles Garrett.
I
know they
think
keep
when
saying
it's
they
all
won't.
said and done, he will be traded. I say before
Yeah.
the start of this season, I think he will be traded.
Before the draft or before the start of the
No,
season?
not to draft because he can't. I don't think they're gonna want to do anything until the post June 1st thing because doesn't his cap hit go down or something like that after June 1st?
I don't remember.
It's the new league year.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna wait till after that. But I 1,000% think he's gonna get traded.
That rule is stupid, by the way. The NFL should fix this. There shouldn't be like stop with this post June 1st cap. Just switch it when the league year changes. And
But yeah, I agree. We don't know the mindset. I mean, yes. Ultimately, the right way to build a team is to hit in the draft. Problem is, we have not done that. And now you're telling me with my job on the line, now I have to do that. And I'm that.
But
So is he gonna get it? So he finally gonna get it right?
Okay.
Because if he does, then yes,
Let me ask
that's
you.
exactly how I would do it. Then I would go sign a couple veteran players, and boom,
who's the
away
best
we go.
quarterback you think they can get, veteran-wise?
Darnold
would be the answer.
Okay, but even though he fell on his face at the end of the year,
He'd be the best
he's
option.
still going to be out of their price range.
Yes,
Don't you think?
I would agree.
Okay,
but-
so realistically,
but you just said who?
all right. Well, now change it. Realistically, who do you think the best quarterback they can get is?
I mean,
Joe
we're
Flacco.
talking about Flacco. We're talking about
Cousins?
I think
Cousin. I'd rather Flacco.
I'd rather Flacco.
You
Yeah.
already, know,
Okay.
you already know he works.
Okay. Now, what are the odds Flacco's going to be able to play well for an entire season at this point in his career?
Anybody at that age, it's 50-50.
I mean, that's
or probably,
anybody.
probably at
That's
best.
any of them that we just
Okay.
anybody.
So if you sign Joe Flacco to be your quarterback and you trade for DK Metcalf and do nothing else major besides that because they wouldn't have much more money, like how many games would you expect to win next year?
7.
Okay, you're not going to the playoffs with 7 wins.
Yeah, but you keep your job.
But why? Like that, you're not making any real progress if you win 7 by having Joe Flacco as your quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Let me ask you.
You keep your job if you're Kevin and AB. That's probably operation 1.
Yeah.
Depending on how the games go,
Yeah.
you're at least competitive, which if you're not going to be good, at least make the games good. You know, at least be competitive. You lose off some last-second field goal or touchdown, 2-minute drive at the end, you don't like, okay, but at least it was a good game. You'll have that, and you'll have people like at least saying like, all right, next year, like maybe we could do something.
But nobody would be saying that because if you won 7 games with Joe Flacco as your quarterback, nobody's saying, oh, well, maybe they'll win 9 next year with Joe Flacco.
Oh, it depends on what they do with the picks,
but I mean, don't you think that like if Flacco comes back to Cleveland, there's going to be a stud rookie quarterback on the roster?
I would assume.
Right? So if you win 7 games and then that young player is hopefully learning from Flacco, maybe he plays at some point. We just said it, 50-50, Flacco would stay healthy the whole year anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, and that is giving me hope. That, to me, would give me.
That's probably what they would do
if the young guy plays, not if Joe Flacco. And it's fine if Joe starts the season, but at some point, hopefully, the young guy's ready to go.
From an attendance standpoint, and just to give the fans something to be excited about, Joe would probably be the best.
It's just a way to con the fans.
Whatever, however you want to call it.
Fans should not pay money.
However you want to call it.
See some washed-up veteran quarterback.
If it came down today that the Browns signed Joe Flacco, it'd be a great percentage of this fan base that'll be like, you know what? I tune in to see that.
It's sad, but
dude,
true.
Our poor fans are so beaten down that they will pay to go watch just any sort of competent offense.
I know.
Yeah.
Competent meaning like average.
He gave us, exciting play.
He was one of the best quarterbacks that we had that was comfortable putting his back to the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he made poor decisions and he threw picks, but
he
was exciting.
But it was exciting. The offense looked like an NFL offense. It looked like
the team was happier,
calling the plays.
Yeah, the team was happier.
Overall,
he was fun.
The defense was rolling. I tell you what, what was funny is that I still think the Jim Schwartz hire 2 years ago was very impactful because I always said it changed the mindset of the players. They brought the physicality to everybody else. And I think that year they were successful because it caught a lot of people off guard. Last year, people brought the fight to them because they thought that that's the Browns' new motto. We come in and we're gonna be a physical bunch.
Yeah.
And obviously they wasn't accepting that challenge last year. And don't get me wrong, I know the offense had their struggles and all those things, but overall, the fight didn't look like it was there.
Well, the Browns have never been able to fight. I mean, it's been 30 years since the Browns went to the playoffs in consecutive seasons. So they've never been to follow, ever in 30 years, followed up a good season with another one.
Don't you wonder when it's going to be? Like, when are you going to look up one day? Don't you want to look up one day and be like, the Browns is like
consistent winner.
They like the Chiefs. Like, they just always win.
Never going to happen if they get a quarterback.
They're going to be sitting there like, the Browns is actually one of the best teams in the NFL consistently year after year. You can't get to the Super Bowl if you don't beat the Browns. That would be,
you know what, though,
like, wow.
Trying to be the Chiefs. Like, that's nearly like,
it's still people that's been waiting their entire lives to say that. And like, I feel so bad for them. I hope they pull it together.
Yeah.
And I know right now it seems so far-fetched, but you never know, man. The right guy could change things.
Well, Cavs fans did win this championship back in 2016, and that's going to get us to our next topic.